Hand clap to the massive guys. We are finally back again for another one on this here Brbptv. Be real, be positive television, brothers and sisters. Welcome to each and every one of you guys who tuned into another Vibrations. I actually had to drop this video yesterday, but I was waiting for some information, and in that of which, that was a good thing right there. So without further ado, guys, let us get into the Vibrations for today right now. Brothers and sisters, as you can see, Skerrit is on the main line, brothers and sisters, and of course we're gonna be reacting to some of the things that he had to say right there. So let us get into it right now.
At home and abroad, fellow citizens at home and abroad, residents and well-wishers, compatriots all, it is my distinct ongoing honor to continue to lead this nation, which has taken its place among the pantheon of nations, a small but proud nation, where we continue to build a society and community dedicated to lifting our people from poverty and to further empowering each and every one of you.
Guys, people in Dominica, can you really clearly say that what the Prime Minister is saying there is true and accurate? Has he been definitely lifting people from poverty or putting people in poverty itself? Which one is it, brothers and sisters? Because to me, it seems like he's putting people in poverty to the point where individuals cannot make money for themselves, where he then has to come in as a result to try to rescue the very people that he has put in poverty, to do things like establish housing for them, because the people cannot do it themselves. And I find this very mind-boggling and disturbing, brothers and sisters, because this is not accurate what he's saying. You heard what he said?
But proud nation, where we continue to build a society and community dedicated to lifting our people from poverty and to further empowering each and every one of you.
Empowerment, really? Maybe we don't know the definitions of empowerment and poverty. Anyways, brothers and sisters, let's continue right there.
The European Union has promised more assistance to the Caribbean and Latin America, committing to spend over 45 billion euros between now and 2027 through over 100 potential projects. Dominica stands to benefit from financing of climate change and sustainable development initiatives, including,
guys, they were talking about that climate change business. I'm going to talk about that in a moment.
That of clean energy. As you know, I recently assumed the chairmanship of CARICOM, armed with a bold and aggressive agenda to ensure the deepening of the regional integration movement.
When they ask you a question about that very thing you just mentioned there and you couldn't answer it, you then tell the lady that you do not agree with the statement that she's making, and the statement that she was making was based on a factual thing that actually took place. Use the chairman boy, we getting from bad to worse. Some people must decide, hey guys, we give everybody a chance. Let us give Skerrit a chance. Maybe that's what happened there. But anyways, he talk about climate, brothers and sisters, and climate change. This is something a number of persons don't seem to understand when they make statements about climate change. Remember, I told you guys in previous reaction videos that they used to call it global warming. It used to be called global warming, but they realized it's not, the earth is not warming again. It's actually doing the opposite, because if you look at places like Antarctica, it is actually cooling, where the vast lands are increasing because the cold is freezing the waters and thus increasing more lands. Brothers, I wish I was making this up. This is why they move away now from global warming and talking about climate change. But it's interesting that they call it climate change. As a scientist individual, I was asking an individual a question, a politician a question. Take a listen. I think she's a politician. But anyways, let's continue right there.
When I asked Tanya Plibersek, was carbon dioxide the big issue in relation to climate change? And she said yes.
Was carbon dioxide a big issue pretty much resulting in climate change? That's what he's asking right there.
Was carbon dioxide the big issue in relation to climate change? And she said yes.
Climate change.
I then said, well, that being the case, what percentage of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide?
That's a logical question to ask. On the basis that you're saying that, hey, carbon is the reason why a number of things that we are having climate change. Carbon. The big question is, how much carbon is actually in the atmosphere for you to try to make any change at all?
And she said, I don't know. You don't know what percentage of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, And yet you're prepared to stand the economy on its head to address a problem, the detail of which you don't know.
That is what I don't understand, brothers and sisters. The detail to which they are saying, hey guys, let us make change because we are putting carbon dioxide and carbon in the atmosphere. And as a result of putting these things in the atmosphere, the system of the world is changing and causing chaos, or will be causing chaos in the near future. Lie, all that is lying. But let's listen.
So when I then explained that the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, Alice, is how much?
How much is the carbon in the atmosphere, brothers and sisters? How much?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I'm a
Well, hang on. If you're going to argue the case, you ought to know it's 0.04%.
It is 0.04%. In other words, it's not 10% of a percent. It is 4% of a percent. 0.04%. Carbon that is responsible for climate change, brothers and sisters, is 0.04 of the atmosphere. In totality, it doesn't stop there.
And of that 0.04%, human beings around the world create 3%.
So of that 4% of that 1%, 3% of that 0.4%, brothers and sisters, is caused by human beings. So in other words, 99.96 99.96% is not relating to carbon in the atmosphere. Yet still carbon is responsible for climate change. Don't you find something interesting in that? No, not only don't understand, but the Prime Minister is going to Brussels to try to talk about climate change, when in his homeland, the economy is dwindling and dying. Yet still he's talking about revamping, trying to take the people away from poverty, when the big question is being asked, what has happened to the $4.3 or $4.2 billion that has gone missing from the CBI program? What has happened to it? But they're trying to remove poverty. You see how people come and say nice things? They come and say nice things because it sounds nice. It is not applicable to reality whatsoever. But let me continue right here, brothers and sisters, because I don't want to take long on this.
By March next year, all Dominicans, and not just special categories of people, will be able to move freely among the many nations which are members of CARICOM.
So my question here is, what are the members of CARICOM? And aren't we able to move freely within these Caribbean countries of CARICOM? Because look at the members of CARICOM, brothers and sisters. Can't we not go to Antigua, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Grenada, Guyana, Haiti, Jamaica, Montserrat, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent, what is this one? Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago. Can we not go to this Caribbean? Because I don't know about you. The only place I haven't been is Belize, brothers and sisters. Belize and Haiti. Yeah, that's the only place I haven't been. So that means we can already freely move, but he's talking about having the freedom of movement. What does that mean though? Maybe that's the question I should ask. What does that mean? Because we can already go there. Now they are associates. They are associate members. Anguilla, of course, you have the BVI, British Virgin Islands, and you have the what do you call that again? USVIs right there. St. Thomas. Well, no, they're not in it. They're not even in there. But we actually have access. Well, I was talking about BVI, but St. Thomas, I think they were talking about having free exchange, moving back and forth in St. Thomas recently. If you guys remember that, let me know that in the comment box below. So BVI, of course, Bermuda, Anguilla, Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands. So these are the associate members. So what is he talking about having the freedom of movement when we can already move to these places? I don't know. Maybe I didn't get the full scope. You guys can help me out in the comment box below, guys. Anyways, let's move on.
The decision of the United Kingdom to suspend visa-free access to the UK for holders of passports from a number of countries, including Dominica, must be understood in that general context.
But it can't. It can't. You know why it can't? Because according to Suella Braverman, UK's Home Secretary, they stated right there, the decision was made due to clear and evident abuse of its citizenship and citizenship by investment scheme or program, including the granting of citizenship to individuals known to pose a threat or risk to the United Kingdom. That is what they said. To the point where I was previously mentioning that they stated to Dominica and a number of countries. They previously had banned one of the countries just before they banned Dominica. They were telling them to stop promoting the CBI program as a means to have visa-free access to the United Kingdom. They were telling them stop using that as a selling point. You know why I say this, brothers and sisters? I say this because of, let me see if I have it there. I'm saying this because of this. Now, because UK has removed their visa-free or put on visa restrictions on Dominica, they're saying that the Nigerian elites affected as UK suspends visa waiver for Dominica nationals over abuse. Abuse of the CBI. The abuse of the CBI is then interesting individuals getting the access to Dominica passports to then be able to travel to these countries. I remember Pakistani individuals and a number of people, not saying that this individual was bad, but we know certain people are interesting people on the east side, and they was claiming that they went to UK and all these sorts of things that they were stating. Therefore, UK had to put down this thing. So when Skerrit come and say what he want, this is the basis. This is not my writing, you know. They say it is made due to clear and evident abuse of its citizenship by investment program. That is it. So if the countries that were banned or are being banned right now, brothers and sisters, it is because of that. And we'll break that down in a moment, brothers and sisters. We'll break that down. Let's continue.
British government has made it clear that this decision to suspend visa-free access does not represent a deterioration of relations between our two nations, nor is it indicative of any diplomatic or other fallout.
You're right. Because it has nothing to do with what you're talking about there, but it has everything to do with this CBI program that you guys are running. And it's interesting, brothers and sisters. We're going to find out a bit more why that is.
We take this matter very seriously, and we will increase our efforts in showcasing our robust due diligence and risk mitigation efforts on all fronts.
Skerrit say they have robust due diligence programs. Not true? Okay. We'll see how well that is working out.
The Commonwealth of Dominica has some of the most proactive and robust due diligence processes.
Has. So that means it has some of the most robust.
And vets everyone looking to attain second or alternative citizenship in the country.
Well, let's see if that is the accurate case right there. Criminals, and this guy's mark you, this is Dominican diplomatic passports. These are the ambassadors or the holders of diplomatic passports for Dominica. Brothers and sisters, we have a number of criminals who have obtained diplomatic passports, which means that they most likely bypassed due process and they became Dominica's ambassadors. First on the list, we have Alison Maduke of Nigeria, brothers and sisters. Maduke is accused of stealing billions from Nigerian treasury. You can read the rest for yourself. We have Leroy Paris of Barbadian. Paris was accused of contributing to the demise of Clico Insurance and so forth, brothers and sisters. We have this individual from Russia. Russian businessman who was named Dominica's special envoy to the UN was wanted by Swiss authorities for various crimes. Boy, that is something else. We have Rudolph King, Bahamas, brothers and sisters, a well-known fraudster criminal purchased a diplomatic passport from Skerrit. That is how he ended up getting a passport, a diplomatic passport. It's not Skerrit, them have to prove that. You have criminals that are doing things, fraudsters. It doesn't end there, bro. It doesn't end there, brothers and sisters. There's more. There's more right there, brothers and sisters. Serge Rogers, German, the former high-ranking neo-Nazi during World War II was... Brothers and sisters, let's move on. Francesco Corallo, we know about that one. Italian, brothers and sisters, he's currently in an Italian jail for various crimes and made Interpol's 10 most wanted fugitive, had our Dominica diplomatic passports. He was an ambassador to Dominica. Brothers and sisters, Eric Turner, French, Foissé, the Dominican ambassador to UNESCO, once famously hosted a yacht party in Dominica for Skerrit and his friends. He disappeared suddenly from Paris, and his current location is unknown. It is believed that the French government initiated an investigation into his business. He go missing, but he had diplomatic passport. Come on. Ali Reza, remember guy? Ali Reza. No, that is Ali. What's that? Yeah, Ali Reza Monfared, brothers and sisters, Iranian, arguably the most famous of the infamous Dominican diplomats. Monfared is facing, sentence, but he was ambassador to Dominica. Come him. NG Lapsang, you remember that one? Oh, no, you don't remember? Well, we do. Lapsang is languished in the U.S. jail. Credit for persuading Skerrit to switch allegiance from Taiwan to Dominica. Chinese billionaire. You have money, behave yourself. But if you have money, then you want to evade all the corruption and things you want to do. Bobby Waller, British. Why he applied for and was denied an ambassadorship for Spain after the Spanish authorities questioned the wisdom of having a Dominica diplomatic passport in Malanga, Spain. Yeah, diplomatic passports, brothers and sisters. Vladimir, that is another one, Romanian fugitive on the run from UK authorities, had Dominica diplomatic passports. There's more, brothers and sisters. Timothy Cornwall, UK itself have a crazy set of people. And then you have the people who are holders of the actual normal passports. These are just a few of them. I had a previous list, brothers and sisters, that had way more than this. Christopher, Australian. Karan Singh, India. Ross, this person, United States. Daniel David, United States. They get in Dominica passports for them to evade their dirty ways. Dawood Ibrahim, India. Mehdi, that person Iranian. And you're talking about the most robust. And guys, the funny thing is, I remember when they were talking about Alison Maduki, they mentioned her, and they wanted to pretend as if they didn't know. Guys, most of these things are out there in the open for people to read. If you want to research on people, you Google it. It's out there for people to see. You mean to tell me you're doing due process and giving these individuals who are criminals in their country diplomatic passports to evade their dirty ways? Ali Reza Monfared is the most famous of them all. The man was in Dominica. But Skerrit talking about, most robust due diligence with criminals obtaining their passports and you don't think UK have to protect themselves. Okay then.
This vetting process is multi-layered and handled by top-rated due diligence agencies based in the United Kingdom and the United States.
So apparently they didn't know, the diplomatic passport. So what I think he's talking about is the normal process. He's talking about the normal process, but there's always the under-the-table aspect. Because how did these individuals obtain our passports, or especially our diplomatic passports? For them to do these things, it must be handed over by the Prime Minister themselves.
America. Our nation implemented the 6 CBI principles proposed by the United States, including implementation of mandatory interviews for applicants.
What he's talking about is a normal process of how things should be done. And if that was done, I know we would not be in that predicament we are today. They say it is a clear violation, brothers and sisters, due to clear and evident abuse of its citizenship by investment program.
16 years and older for its citizenship by investment program. This step highlights the country's commitment to cooperate with international stakeholders and increasing due diligence processes with the aim of reducing threats posed by illicit actors. As a small island developing state, Dominica has used funds from its CBI program to address the devastating impacts of climate change on our island, to boost our self-reliance, transforming.
Guys, when people talk about climate change, it does always mess me up, you know. Brothers and sisters, there were terrible hurricanes back in the 18th century, you know that? 18s and 19, I think one of the most strongest hurricanes was in 1913. You can research it for yourself. 1913, 1950, 53, 1956. Number of the years where that received stronger hurricanes than they were today. Shouldn't be talking about climate change back in the day. Okay.
In our economy, driving growth, enhancing our climate resilience, and empowering local communities.
Not Skerrit, not you that was saying that Dominica are climate resilient. We're going to have the world's #1 climate resilient nation. Not you that was saying that same thing now. Not you that was saying that. Where it now? Where it? Or you can build house for people at inferior.
In the U.S. Caribbean Roundtable that was recently held, it was noted that dismantling CBI programs would severely compromise the prosperity and prospects of the nations that run these programs.
You said it was noted. Noted by whom? You? Because to me, you were the one saying, if not CBI, what else? And if you ask any economist who knows about Dominica, they will tell you that CBI and tourism is not the way forward for Dominica. Brothers and sisters, we have agriculture here. We are yet to build factories, brothers and sisters. We had factories back in the day. What is the factories that we have today? What? Agriculture is the best way forward for Dominica. Any economist will tell you that. Anyone that knows Dominica will tell you that. But what we doing? We're trying to go into tourism and little things, CBI, because the monies, guys, if agriculture, you know why they don't really go into agriculture? Because agriculture helps the small man, like it used to help back in the day. How do I know that? Because we were involved in it. Brothers and sisters, and people want to say, "Oh, agriculture died in Dominica." Why is St. Vincent sending how much things to Miami? Why is Barbados? Why a number of Caribbean islands sending things to England and to the United States? Where's Dominica? Where Dominica that?
In the U.S. Caribbean Roundtable that was recently held, it was noted that dismantling CBI programs would severely compromise the prosperity and prospects of the nations that run these programs.
So while they didn't make sure all they did proper due process, only making criminals obtain diplomatic passports, obtaining diplomatic passports, and then criminals obtaining Dominican normal passports to the point where they had to rush to change Dominica passports into the electronic thing, all you did, which of course is accordance to the ETA that England is trying to do. So when he's talking about ETA and people, we will get to that.
Triggering a plethora of negative socio-economic consequences. The Caribbean has been taking a proactive approach in addressing international concerns about CBI programs.
It's all your fault. It's not the people's fault, you know. It is all, Skerrit is all your fault. Your fault. Who else's fault could it be? CBI, the people are not handling CBIs. It's your teams that are doing that. Your teams are doing that and giving passport to criminals. I'm talking about you have the most robust, and then things like England in the UK supposed to be like, oh, it's true, what you saying is true. But even though they know it have people coming in, the other day, look at that, I think it's this. 2 deported terrorists re-entered the United Kingdom with what? Dominican passports. This is not last year, brothers and sisters. This is this year. So he come in and say what he want there. Makes no sense.
Dominica has been very cooperative in implementing a number of measures to clamp down on unsavory characters who may want to use the programs as an entry point to countries such as the United Kingdom.
But there's a reason why you guys want to say these things. Because peak criminals have obtained Dominican passports. Like I stated before, brothers and sisters, why they have to shift over to the cheap passport or electronic passport, they say, whatever passport that they are. It's because people, from my understanding, were in the Middle East making, there's one movie and they're making fake passport for people to travel. That is what was happening. Making fake passports for people to travel and they're going visa-free into countries. Look at that. You guys can read that for yourselves, okay? I know. Let's continue.
The level of inspection that takes place as part of the due diligence process is so high, it leaves very little chance for undesirables to be accepted without suspicion.
Oh, yeah. Hey, boy, Mr. Not Easy Boy. So scary. Where all those people that obtain diplomatic passports and Dominican passports, where they come from? Where they come from? Boy, it's so robust that it makes it very high.
The UK is in the midst of setting up its own electronic travel authorization.
That is what he's saying there. I want you guys to listen carefully. Listen carefully.
The UK is in the midst of setting up its own electronic travel authorization program. When implemented later this year, anyone entering the UK who does not require a visa would need to do what? Will have to apply for an electronic travel authorization.
So that has nothing to do with us getting visa restricted, my brother. Visa free cancellation. That has nothing to do with us. That is to people who do not require visas to go to UK. Isn't that why you guys shifted over to the electronic passport, to the e-passport? I don't know, with e-passport when it's physical there, but hey, they put a chip or something inside it. Isn't that another ETA that we would need to do because we would have it already to travel to the United Kingdom? Isn't okay. Let me play it again for you.
Its own electronic travel authorization program. When implemented later this year, anyone entering the UK who does not require a visa will have to apply for an electronic travel authorization to enter the UK.
So that have nothing to do with us. Nothing at all to do with us. But you mentioning it as if that is the reason why that we got visa restricting, because they're going to move into a new system. But sir, if they're going to move into a new system and this is a requirement for people who do not need visas to enter UK, that is not applicable to us.
This, however, does not prevent Dominicans from traveling to or through the United Kingdom.
You're right. Because it's solely as a result of the CBI program. It does nothing to do with Dominicans.
Dominicans are still welcome to the United Kingdom.
This is one of the reasons why I told you guys they were actually looking into making the Dominicans born in Dominica have visa-free access to travel into the United Kingdom, and then the people who obtained the visas from CBI would need to apply for visas. That's something they were looking into. They were looking into that and realized, hey guys, we cannot punish the Dominican people for the foolishness of our leaders, the greed of our leaders. They couldn't do that to the Dominican people. That's one thing they were looking into. But there was a problem with that process, brothers and sisters, because they realized on the Dominican passports of the new people who obtained passports, brothers and sisters, these individuals were marked as Dominicans. Yes, somebody from India getting the passport will be marked as a Dominican. And they say that they were doing that for everybody. So as a result, the people who are most affected, brothers and sisters, are the very people who the UK tried to protect. But the prime ministers, them, they don't want that because they put in the individuals who obtain passports as Dominicans. That would be the clear margin to separate them. But of course, you know, they screw that up for the Dominican people. And the Dominican people watch what happened to them. And clap. Ted Calbas.
Honestly, Dominicans, who wrote that speech was Skerrit?
Yeah, that cannot be Skerrit speech. You cannot tell me you write that knowing what happened.
Who wrote that piece of garbage for Skerrit? Skerrit is telling the world that he has the most robust due diligence program process in the CBI all over the world. That's why.
Guys, Dominica is the one that had the most criminals. Look at Al Jazeera. They were talking about Al Jazeera and the people who obtain Dominican passports. Even some of the places, I think they mentioned Antigua, I think is one of them, who had some interesting persons of interest. These very people have Dominican passports too.
He just said, you know. You realize what he didn't say? He didn't say it's Dominicans who were born in Dominica that causing problems in England.
Yep.
That causing that ban, you know.
Nope.
He's telling us it's a CBI program, you know. Yeah, that's what he's saying, you know. He's never said Dominicans are carried.
Dominicans then have to pay the price for what the prime ministers them allowed to happen to them. And then the Dominican people will still clap like some foolish.
Are drug mules. Dominicans are fraudulent in the United Kingdom, so we don't want them in our country. You didn't say that, you know.
It's the people who obtain Dominican passports that cause the chaos for Dominica. The people who allow these people to get our passports are our leaders.
He didn't say that. He's saying this is sick.
And they're talking about proper, robust due process. Criminals in jail now with diplomatic passport.
Because of the CBI program, they have concerns. They have the most robust due diligence process. Yet still, the United Kingdom said, no way, we don't tell you. It's not me. Hey, Dominicans, it's not me and you that's the problem, you know. It's the CBI, it's the people.
The thing that scared them in charge of, that causing the Dominican people to suffer as a result of their decisions. The same thing, like when I mentioned that they're taking loans to do things around the place. Who do you think that has to pay it back? The citizens that have to pay back the decisions of our leaders. This is why it's important to put the right set of leaders in the positions. But of course, like the famous Professor Lumumba from Africa stated, the people get what they truly deserve. When you clapping because a man telling you he can send his children overseas and for health and medicals, and you clapping, the people get what they truly deserve. When Reginald come in, $500,000 missing, and Reginald say he don't care about where the money go, and the people clap, the people get what they truly deserve.
The people that selling passports to criminals in the market in Punjab, you know. They, you know, not us.
It's not us, brothers and sisters, but Peter paying for Paul, therefore what the decisions of our leaders have done to us as a result of them doing things where criminals are obtaining our passports. Then we have to bear the pain and the struggle. We have to then go and get visas, and pay extra money to go and get visas, brothers and sisters, so that we can enter UK, something that we actually had for free. Somebody actually mentioned and saying, wasn't UWP the one that Canada, when Canada removed visa free access to Canada? No, brothers and sisters, that was around 2002. Who was in power in 2002? I will leave that up to you for you to find out. Brothers and sisters, this is pretty much all about for this here reaction video today. This is something I had to drop yesterday, but of course I had to get some information, which I dropped today, brothers and sisters. This is not normal that I need to do. I had to go and do a little extra research and whatnot for me to make sure I bring the information out there for you guys, brothers and sisters. But it's interesting to find out that even if the information reaching some of all you will still reject it for the sake of, oh, is my husband, is my party, is that party I born in. Well, At least I did my part, okay? Anyways, guys, give this video a thumbs up if you understand it. If you want to see more, definitely share this video all over the place right there. I would appreciate that. And of course, subscribe and turn on that post notification bell by clicking the bell so you can get all the videos or be notified when I drop my videos right there and then. I'll see you guys in the next reaction video. Remember, guys, be real. Be positive.